What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of CUBREACTS, as we jump into another listen from our classic section that we are now running. At the moment, we are slowly but surely going through Burna Boy's African Giant album. We're not going through it track for track. We're kind of moving around and picking a different one each week at random. But today, we are going to be getting into African Giant itself, the title track of the project, which I'm very excited to dive into. Again, loads of people have recommended we get into this one as part of the series, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. As always, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you're getting involved by hitting the Patreon link in the description. That's how you can get involved with choosing which albums we do these slow listens to. You can also get involved with exclusive content, and of course you can vote on upcoming DJ listens as well, and DJ content in general. Loads of stuff to get into. As always though, friends, we are going to jump into this one now. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on the right hand side of the page, turn notifications on, leave a like, leave a comment, and all of that good stuff. Let's jump into it. Burna Boy, African Giant. I'm loving the fact we're able to go back and view these, man. Bassline sounds so tough after even all this time, man. This is the thing, yeah, before we dive into this one properly, the thing with old school Burna Boy is there was always this mad kind of potent bass line that used to run through the heart of everything. You hear it on Yeah, you hear it on Burna, you hear it on pretty much all of this African Giant album. You hear that very potent sounding bass line. Something that's kind of moved away a little bit in his style recently, but obviously, as far as I'm aware, he's got a project en route, so I'm sure we'll probably end up seeing a bit of that again. But again, really excited to dive into this one. Right from the intro of this one, you can feel the kind of epicness of the way the tune's been put together. Again, it's a wicked title track. I do want to reiterate, I have heard this album before, but we're going through it and assessing it properly. So yeah, let's see how we develop.
Tell them Africa, we don't tire. So here comes the African Giant.
That call and respond between the vocal and the string, so clean.
That's the African Giant.
Something that he does really well in this earlier kind of period as well is kind of blending normal vocals with auto-tune vocals. You can just hear that auto-tune kind of turns on towards the last kind of couple of seconds of the hook, like the and it just slightly buzzes away towards the end. It's a cool way of kind of almost fusing those normal style vocals, those more kind of acoustic, more natural sounding vocals with the electronic side of things as well. The call and respond between the kind of guitar plucks and his vocals as well, working really nicely on the hook. It's a very valid title track for such a momentous project, I feel. Proper takes me back as well. See what I mean about that bass line, though? It's mad actually hearing just how just in general the mixdown sounds with a bass line that is that potent. Again, as I said before, we have kind of listened to this album before. We haven't done it on this channel though. This came out in 2019. I started doing reactions in 2020. Toward about 5 months into 2020, I started doing reactions. So this obviously came out well before I was ever doing them, but it's so exciting to kind of go back and listen through them again with the more sort of, I suppose, updated ears and the slightly more educated ears as well. For me, at least, that's definitely how this kind of feels. I love how the percussion sounds as well. It's really kind of cardboard style pop, but it works. Really nice bridge in the middle as well. Something that Burna's always been good at is utilising bridges within his tunes. He's always able to kind of have these mid-breather sections that allows the listenership to kind of go, okay, cool, let's chill for a second and then we'll get back into it. Really good for live performance as well. It gives you a kind of moment for the lights to come up for a second before you dive back in. It allows you to build momentum into the next drop as well. It's something Burna's always been very, very good at within the tracks he creates. And again, those pieces of percussion that I was just talking about, those kind of, they're like snares, but they're like rim shot snares that are kind of just going, but they have this really, I know, kind of wooden feel to them. Really, really different. And again, it's not something you hear very regularly anymore. Tell them Africa, we don't tire. So here comes the
ganja. Yeah.
See what I mean about the bass line, though? I know I'm going on about the bass line, but think how potent that actually sounds. The whole kind of low end of the tune is just taken up by this really kind of pulsating, very kind of warm, fuzzy low end. It does fantastically well. Again, I like the fact that we've only heard the hook twice and we are over halfway through the tune. I really like that. I like the fact that he's kind of refined it a little bit. He's kind of gone, you know what, we don't need to hear this hook every couple of seconds, which is something we're hearing a lot more on modernized creations, diving back to the catchy bit as soon as you can, presumably in case you lose people's attention. But with this, there is this kind of grace about the way the entire composition comes together. It feels like this is a well planned out tune, and you don't get bored of it. So you don't need to have the catchiest part of the entire tune every couple of seconds. You know, again, it's mastery from Burna.
Many people don't try, but you can't test the African giant. Baby, I'm all logo. You know, get the person when you know, making them loco. Oh, no.
The transitions on this are really cool as well. The fact he's able to kind of sweep from one kind of section to another. It doesn't ever sound like it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like it's going one and a bit, maybe a bit of 2, there's 2, then a bit of more 2, maybe a bit of 3. Like, it isn't like a flat sounding progression from section to section. Every section transitions really nicely, and it's usually because you've got like a sweeping Burna vocal going over that transitional point. And it's a really cool way of making the tune sound very fluid. It makes the whole thing sound very well put together. And again, this is, as we're doing with all of these classics, this is one that definitely does feel like it stood the test of time, more so than most of the ones we've actually reacted to, if I'm being honest with you. So cool to listen back to it. To that bass line, though, are you mad? Like, if you're listening to this through speakers, I'm assuming you can hear obviously I've just got headphones on today, so I'm not getting the physical kind of stomach shot of bass intrusion, shall we say. But you can still feel just how potent that low end is. And again, it's something that Burna style has slightly reduced, I feel. As time's gone on, he's made stuff that isn't as kind of potent in the low end. It doesn't necessarily need to be, and this is a very kind of common theme in a lot of Burna's earlier works. These big kind of booming, fuzzy, warm bass lines that just kind of engulf you as a listener. But again, it does still work in today's sort of today's sort of standing in regards to the way that music's made now. You can still have these big booming bass lines. Again, I feel from sort of 2010 to 2020 were the years of the decade, I suppose, of the big booming bass lines, and you can hear that within this. That little stuttered chord line over the top as well, sounding really, really cool towards the end. And there we go. We'll let this one run through to the end, just so we aren't missing any of it. But again, I am very wary. Obviously, this is a huge album. I want to make sure the video does actually be allowed online, which means I do have to pause it quite regularly. If you are new to the channel, that's why we do pause quite regularly, just so we can actually get the videos up online. So often we'll upload stuff that we don't pause regularly and it just gets blocked. I'd much rather that you guys can enjoy the actual breakdowns in a bit more of an extensive way, rather than having to chop it down so we don't get to hear as much of the tune. You know, so that's why we do it the way we do it. But again, we'll let it run through to the end. 26th of July, 2019. That feels so long ago. But again, I definitely think this one stood the test of time. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Just get a little bit of a fade out. And some more traditional vocals coming out over the outro. Really cool. There we go, a good way to round things off. But there we go, Burna Boy, African Giant, the title track off the album of the same name, as we continue to look through this album kind of down the line, a few years down the line, and go back and kind of react to it as it lands. Really, really enjoying this process so far. Second track we've done off this album. We're going to try and do maybe 1 or 2 a week, a minimum of 1 a week. We're normally going to do them on Mondays, I think, because obviously that's when we don't have that many releases dropping. Tuesdays we have the Billboard updates. Wednesdays we try to get into a bit more sort of guest mixy, sort of podcasty content, and then then Thursdays and Fridays, obviously, the times tend to be where the music videos come out. So that's how our kind of schedule's working. But again, really enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think it stood the test of time? That's the most important thing about this series. But there we go. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you are heading over to the Patreon and getting involved, because you can vote on the next album we do. You also get access to exclusive content, and of course you can vote on upcoming DJ content and album listens as well. So there we go. That's it from me. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll catch you all next time, my friends. Have a good one, and peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CUBREACTS TV. Stay locked.